In August of 2026, listeners of 77 WABC Radio heard an audio broadcast that defied the expected trajectory of a high-profile legal feud. Two men, famous for attempting to dismantle each other's lives, were having a polite, even warm conversation on the air. The voices belonged to former President Donald Trump and Michael Cohen, the lawyer who spent a decade working as his personal fixer. During the exchange, Cohen addressed his former boss simply as "Boss." Trump, in turn, praised Cohen for having the courage to publicly recant his previous statements. To understand the nature of this exchange, you have to look at the wreckage they left in their wake. These two men had engaged in a high-stakes legal battle that dominated the federal court system and national headlines for years. Going into this radio interview, Cohen had spent years publicly attacking Trump. He went on the record to describe his former employer as a con man, a predator, and a Cheeto-dusted cartoon villain. He also served as the star witness in the 2024 hush money trial. His testimony provided the narrative framework for Trump's 34 felony convictions. Cohen's cooperation followed his own time behind bars. He had already served a prison sentence for executing what he described as Trump's 30 deeds. By any standard metric of human behavior, securing a criminal conviction against a former ally who let you go to federal prison creates a permanent divide. To measure the scale of the fallout, we have to look at how the relationship started. Back in 2016, Cohen proudly defined his own role as Donald Trump's attack dog with a law license. His primary mandate was to protect the presidential campaign from negative press. That mandate meant arranging hush money payments to keep allegations of extramarital affairs from the voting public. The strategy worked through the election, but the financial mechanics eventually triggered a federal investigation. By 2018, Cohen pled guilty to campaign finance violations and received a 3-year prison sentence. The transactional arrangement collapsed. Cohen lost his law license and his freedom, taking the weight of the legal consequences while Trump sat in the Oval Office. Confined first to a prison cell and later to home arrest, Cohen's loyalty evaporated. He launched a podcast, published books, and began describing Trump as a threat to the country's democratic structure. This public warfare reached a peak in the spring of 2024. Cohen took the oath to formally testify against his former boss. The jury listened to Cohen detail the paper trail, leading directly to Trump's conviction in Manhattan on 34 felony counts. By 2024, their relationship was defined by legal mutual destruction, seemingly burning any bridge for future cooperation. The turning point arrived when Cohen's request for executive clemency was denied by the Biden administration. Following that rejection, Cohen began to pivot. He stated publicly that during the hush money trial, he felt pressured and coerced by New York prosecutors. Trump capitalized on this shift immediately. He shared Cohen's complaints on social media, using them to legitimize his own claims of being the victim of an unfair prosecution. Two men moving in opposite directions for 6 years suddenly converged. They had both landed on a narrative that served their current needs, the idea of a weaponized justice system. This alignment suggests a transactional strategy rather than an emotional one. Once their interests regarding the legal system overlapped, they found a path back to cooperation. We can break down the exact political capital exchanged here. Trump secures a powerful talking point, the star witness publicly discrediting the legal system that secured the conviction. Cohen gains immediate relevance, access to Trump's massive platform, and a potential path to a presidential pardon. Explaining the radio appearance on his Substack, Cohen wrote that forgiveness requires the courage to stop allowing yesterday to dictate tomorrow. In the high tiers of political maneuvering, permanent enemies can be an unnecessary cost. When mutual benefits appear, historical animosity is often set aside. The weaponized justice narrative is effective because it shifts focus from a personal betrayal to an external, common adversary. It allows both men to cooperate without relitigating the damage they did to each other in court. This 2026 reconciliation shows how shared grievances can override years of intense litigation and public hostility when both parties find value in the same story. For Michael Cohen, a decade of personal loyalty resulted in a prison sentence, but this shared narrative brought him back into the room with the president.